When my children were very small, there was a period of time, I guess when they were about 6 months old, when they seemed to be ill the whole damn time. If it wasn't one of them, it was the other. They were always coming down with colds, sniffles. An awful lot of time. I just seem to remember nights walking backwards and forwards, carrying a hot, sweaty little red baby around. Backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. It was great, but it was really hard work. And they would scream and scream and scream and scream. And you'd think you were going to go mad because the noise was so much and they're so tired. And it just seemed so incessant. I really did think I was going to lose it for a while. I suppose the reason why I didn't was that I found this technique, I suppose. I would listen to them crying very, very, very carefully. Because it wasn't really continuous. If you listen very carefully, it did have a kind of a rhythm to it. One of them would cry, and then there'd be a very slight pause, a slight intake of breath, and then the crying would start again. So there'd be a small gap, maybe just a few seconds, between one bout of crying and the next. And what I found I could do if I really, really worked hard is I could sort of listen just for that gap, that pause between about one cry and the next. And if I really focused on that one cry, it would sort of expand in my mind. I could hear it, and it would seem to get larger. It was like this tiny little poised moment of stillness and calm, an otherwise very, very, very tempestuous ocean. And listen to it very, very carefully. That's what it would become. And one thing I found with that, not only was it calm, it was also, well, each one of those little bursts of silence was exactly the same as every other one. So it was like coming back to exactly the same place each time. So it felt a little bit like, I don't know, standing at the beach and watching the tide come in. And the tide would roll in and get to the top. And there'd be a moment's pause and it would go out again. But the point that it came to each time would be the same point, the tide line. You could stand on the tide line, a really peaceful moment, looking out over the ocean. Even though the ocean itself was choppy or had a big storm blowing on it, that mark on the beach was very, very calm and still and stationary. And my kids are much older now. My children are both 14, and of course they don't spend all night crying anymore. But I do find that I can still occasionally find that moment when I talk to them. You know, if they're being naughty or just being teenagers, really. I can still find that if I'm really, really careful. Occasionally I can even find it with other people. My mum is very old, for example. In fact, she's 92 today. It's her birthday. And yeah, she's lovely, she's great, but she is 92 with all that comes with it, really. But again, with her, I can, if I'm really careful, I can listen to what she's saying. I can hear her stories about, you know, what she's doing at the old people's centre where she lives, or you know, what she had for dinner, or how she's feeling. And if I find myself losing contact with the actual content of what she's saying, I can hear these little silences behind what she's saying, either between the words or at the end of each sentence when she pauses for breath, or while she's talking. Actually, I can hear it there too. And it's exactly the same silence as the one my kids had when they were small and still have now. It's at the same point on the beach. So it seems like that silence is around a lot, and I can hear it. Actually, I'm listening for it now. If I'm really careful, I can listen for it right now. There it is again.